Hey, just check for Wi-Fi. Yeah, our Wi-Fi is not correct. Our Wi-Fi is not correct.
Is it better?
No.
You both are not visible. Could you just tilt the frame?
Are we visible now?
Yeah, it's fine. So we'll start with the session. Good evening, everyone. We at 1418, India's first exclusive platform for 14 to 18 years old, is gonna organize a session with Mrs. Mrin Agarwal on financial independence of teenagers. So, are you a finance-enthu or someone who gets really excited whenever we hear the word stock markets, finance, or investment? Or are you just another teenager who's getting a really hard time managing their finance or pocket money? Then I assure you that this live session is for you. So we at 1418 has collaborated with Finsafe to conduct a session on financial independence of teenagers. As it's rightly said, that financial independence is emotional, mental, and educational process. So we have with us as our guest speaker, Mrs. Mrin Agarwal, to talk about financial independence. And Rakhi's gonna give a short introduction about Mrs. Mrin Agarwal.
Mrin is the founder of Finsafe India Private Limited, a financial education company. In the last 7 years, Finsafe has impacted more than 85,000 people to lead better financial lives. Mrin has more than 25 years of experience in wealth management and has worked with Citibank, Deutsche Bank, and Birla Sunlife. She has extensive experience in investment advisory and banking, debt and stock markets, and is regularly interviewed by CNBC, TV 18, ET Now, Zee Business, Bloomberg Quint, etc. She regularly contributes articles to print, including monthly columns in Mint, Money Control, Deccan Herald, Business Standard, Economic Times, and online media. She has won the CNBC Grand Jury Prize for work done towards financial education inclusion in the UTI CNBC Financial Advisor Awards in 2015 and 2017.
We are so lucky to have you here, ma'am. So without any further ado, let's get into the questions. Since being a teenager, it's getting really hard to be financially independent. So is there any piece of advice that you want to give to teenagers out there so that they can manage their own finances and pocket money?
So good evening, everybody. Nice to be here today. Yes, in fact, while the money always seems less, you always feel that your parents are giving you so less money and there's so much to spend on and there's so many things that we need. But honestly, I think, when you get your pocket money, that's a good time for you to learn money management because you're getting a lesser amount of money than what you need. So you're basically trying to learn how to live on a limited budget. And the other thing is that, if you're able to if you're able to save some money from your pocket money, I look at that as being a very big goal and that teaching us some life lessons about, the fact that you know how to live within your means. So honestly, living within your means is the first step in the journey of financial independence.
I completely agree with it.
When should one start investing in stock markets? Is it safe for teenagers to invest?
Well, don't jump into the stock markets because, while over the last 1 year, things are looking really good and everybody is making tons and tons of money in the last 1 year. But very importantly, you shouldn't jump into stock markets right away, right? So there are other ways, like there's an instrument known as a mutual fund that you can utilize to invest into stocks rather than getting into the stock market. And let me ask you this, how would you know what stock to buy? And how would you know how long to hold it, and how would you know when to exit? So you have an option known as a mutual fund, where you have a professional fund manager who's managing the money, and that person has information, research, a big team to do the research to figure out what stock to buy and when to sell the stock, right? So honestly, on your own, when you're doing it, you're just doing it for fun. You're doing it on tips, right? But in the long run, that doesn't really make money. So I do believe that even teenagers, if you're saving some money from your pocket money, look at investing it in a mutual fund, where it's professionally managed.
So, ma'am, like being a teenager, we have to like hire a mutual fund manager. So, don't you think that our parents won't allow us to do the same? Because since we are just teenagers, no parent would allow us to hire a mutual fund advisor. And what if my parents are not into the investing field? So how can I how can I induce my parents to tell them that, no, I want to invest and I want to start something in this field, though you have not done that before, but you can trust me with that. So is there any tips for that?
Okay, so a mutual fund manager and an advisor are two different people, right?
Okay.
A mutual fund is managed by the fund manager, but there are various advisors who can tell you which mutual fund to buy, because there's so many mutual funds, right? Now, the good thing about mutual funds, you can start with as little as 1,000 rupees. Okay. So here's what I would suggest you to do. First thing, before you get into anything, when you buy a laptop or when you buy a phone, don't you spend a lot of time researching about it?
Yeah,
right?
Videos and then read
Yeah, you're looking at reviews, you're looking at features, you're looking at characteristics. The same way, when you are investing, you need to do some amount of reading up. Okay, so I actually run a vlog on my YouTube channel, which is all about the steps of investing. There are various books also that you can read. There are lots of videos online as well. So first thing, start reading. Read some of the newspapers. You'll be getting some business newspaper at home. There is a personal finance page. Start reading that. Slowly you'll start picking up something. Second thing, you can always tell your parents, give me 1,000 rupees. 1,000 rupees is all that I want to start investing. And in mutual fund, there's something known as an index fund, which basically replicates an index like Sensex or Nifty. So start with that. Experience how it goes, the ups and the downs, and that's going to help you in your investing journey.
So, ma'am, do you think that teenagers should be financially literate? Like they should know what Nifty stands for and everything, though we are not taught that in schools. So this is something which is extracurricular. So do you think that schools should really focus on financial literacy among teenagers, or like they should inculcate a habit of investing and everything from the basic, from the start in schooling life?
Absolutely. Money management is a life skill. Just like you take care of your physical health, you need to take care of your financial health. And school should have it as part of the curriculum. Not only schools, but schools and college need to have financial literacy as part of the curriculum, where you're learning about budgeting, investment options, borrowing. I mean, some of you are in the commerce stream, and I see that you're learning so much in economics and accounts, but honestly, you need to also learn a lot about money management as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Going back to the stock markets, how can teenagers invest in them and open their demat accounts?
I wouldn't recommend you to do it. As I said, start with a mutual fund, right? Start with an index fund, and I wouldn't recommend you to open a demat account, because how do you know what stock to buy?
Totally get it. So can we help our parents to do the same? Because if I guess that most of the Indians do invest in stock markets, and parents are really interested in stock markets. So is there anything that teenagers can genuinely help their parents by, any type of research or any page that you recommend us to follow on Instagram, or even any news channel that you can recommend teenagers to follow, so that they are updated with all the stock prices and share prices and everything?
So, as I said, what's happened is that, as with everything in your life, things in your parents' generation was very different from what it is in your generation. It's the same thing with money management. What worked 20 years back versus what works now is very different, right? So, generally, if you see, Indians have a very low amount of money in equities. They just tend to prefer to buy real estate or gold or insurance, and the amount of money in equities is really low. So, I think, the first thing is to get away from that mold of saying that I only want to do like safe stuff. Look at doing equities. As I said, I run a vlog. You can, read up any of the financial dailies, read up the personal finance page in any of those particular dailies. And, it's really about just getting into it and experiencing it, because, unless and unless you experience it, it's all book knowledge. So unless and unless you get your hands into it, and unless and unless you lose money, you're really never going to learn how to manage money.
So, ma'am, like talking for myself, if someone's at the age of 21 or 22 and he or she wants to invest, so what do you think will be the safest option for that? Debentures, equity, or preference? As it's a very relative question. I know that it's a very relative question, but if I want to invest in something that's safest and can give me the largest amount of return in the upcoming years.
There's no such instrument that is going to be safe, give you high returns as well. So, there's a very, always remember, high risk, high return, low risk, no return. Okay. So either you take the risk and try to get a good return, or you take no risk and sit with very low returns. The safest, of course, is a fixed deposit, but it's not going to give you a great return. I would say every youngster should invest into equities in India, because India is a growing market. From an economy perspective, India is expected to do really well. And when you have FIIs all over the world investing in India, why should Indians not be investing in Indian equity markets?
I totally agree.
So, what would you recommend for us teenagers to save more? Like, what methods should we apply to be saving more money?
Well, 2-3 things that you always need to keep in mind. First of all, you need to believe in the concept of saving, right? You shouldn't look at it as a drudgery, right? Just like how you want to be physically fit, you need to say that, okay, I'm getting this X amount of pocket money, and I'm going to save this much percentage of it, maybe 20%, 25% of it, because I want to save to build up the savings habit, right? The second thing is, it's always easy to save when you have a goal attached. So let's say there's something in, something that you always wanted, and you're going to tell yourself that instead of me asking my parents, I'm going to buy this myself, right? So, never look at it as a drudgery. Always look at it as something that you're doing for yourself positively, for your own positive physical health. You're doing this. And always have a goal attached to that saving, to say that I'm going to use this saving this way. It could just be to even grow your money, or it could be to buy something, but have a goal attached to it. But essentially, unless and the last thing I would say is that we all have a lot of peer pressure at all ages, whether you're 15 or you're 30 or you're 50. Let me tell you, everybody has a lot of peer pressure, because if somebody has this phone, then even I need to have this phone. If somebody is going here for vacation, even I need to go to a nice place for vacation, right? So don't fall for the peer pressure.
Ma'am, I completely understand your point, because today we were having a meeting and someone was saying that I don't know why I'm saving, I am just saving. So it's I guess that people don't generally save because they don't have a goal to save. So if they generally get a goal, then they can inculcate a habit of saving. So even if I see, there are many apps as well, Apple Wallets and many App Store or Play Store apps that can be used by teenagers to inculcate the habit of saving. So I totally agree with whatever points you said. So ma'am, do you think that the financial literacy should be taught by schools? And what do you think that are schools really providing them? If not, then what all the provisions should be changed in the curriculum or should be added to literally provide teenagers with all the information and stuff they need to know about saving, money and everything, because at this age we are the most restless, wherein if we see a 2000 rupees shopping bag or a very expensive thing that's not really useful to us, we tend to buy it because that's our age. So do you think that school should impart this knowledge, this finance knowledge, that no, you should not do that, you should save that instead for your future or something?
I think it should be in an experiential way and not in the bookish way, because so maybe it should be more about decisions, rather than saying, okay, you need to budget and you need to save this much. It needs to be in a more experiential manner that schools need to teach this. But certainly, yes, I do believe. So, for example, you all do a lot of projects at school, right? And that is your experiential learning, because then you're kind of reading up more about it and writing about it. So I think similarly, this needs to be an experiential learning and not taught like a bookish knowledge.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, ma'am, this was a very insightful session. We are open to any kind of questions. If teenagers or anyone who has any questions for Mrin ma'am can just ping up in the comment section. And ma'am, if you would like to speak more about anything financial or anything that teenagers need to know at this particular point of time, you are open for it.
I would say take a money challenge, take the savings challenge. Actually, I would say. So I would just like to say that take the savings challenge. Ask, whatever money you can get from your parents, take a challenge, start investing that money in an index fund. It's very easy. You can just buy an ETF of the Nifty 50. Just start investing in that. Take up this challenge that I'm going to start learning more about this subject for my well-being, right? That's what I would say. And you can look at my vlog on my YouTube channel, which is Finsafe India, which is really, it's a vlog on teaching people how to start investing. It's right from the basics. It's very easy to understand. So you could look at some of those videos to understand how to go about it.
For anyone who's interested, we link the YouTube channel to our Instagram live session after it's been posted. We do have a question, ma'am. What do the FIIs do differently when compared to individuals investing?
So you see, FIIs are foreign institutional investors, and they, of course, would do a lot more research on the stock that they are investing into. And being institutional investors, they would also, be doing a lot of ground research on the company. As individual investors, we don't have this sort of bandwidth or the resources to be able to do this. So, whatever information we get it off the internet, and that's already published, dated information. So I think, a lot of investment decisions that are taken by individuals are on basis of past data, whereas when FIIs or institutions are investing into equities, they're looking at more forward-looking data.
Thank you, ma'am. This was very helpful for all of us. So I guess we are done for the evening, and I, Dipali, and Rakhi were the hosts for the evening, and we were so lucky to have you on board with us for sparing your valuable and precious time to educate all the teenagers and all the people out there.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Rakhi, you want to say something? Even you can say
something. I was just thanking everyone.
For anyone who don't really know, Rakhi is Mrin ma'am's daughter, and she's an amazing girl, I would say.
Thank you. Likewise.
Okay, so we'll conclude the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.